Good morning, students. Let's begin the chapter 3 of the supplementary reading. Ishwaran, the storyteller. We are on page 12. This is page number 13 and we are on page 12. Now look at this picture. Ishwaran, the storyteller. Who is this man? Let's see. And what is this lesson is all about? Look here. One night, Mahendra woke up from his sleep and saw a dark, cloudy form. He broke out into a cold sweat. Was it a ghost? Now, what happened one night? Why he woke up? And what did he see? And was that really a ghost? We do not know. We will come to know when you read the story and pay attention. So let's begin. Here, the story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man, Mahendra by name. So a person called Mahendra is narrating, is telling the story to a young man. And his name was Ganesh. So we saw that Mahendra is telling a story to Ganesh. Ganesh is a young man. Then he was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites. Now, which are the sites, construction sites? Factories, bridges, dams and so on. Mahendra's job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work site. So what did Mahendra do, or what was Mahendra's job? To keep an eye on the activities at the work site. And which are the work sites, students? Various types of construction sites, factories, bridges, dams and so on. Now, students, what is the meaning on hire? On rent. Now, he was a supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites. Who was he? Supervisor? Mahendra. And then, where did he go to supervise? His job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work sites such as factories, bridges, dams and so on. He had to keep moving. He had to keep moving from place to place every now and then as ordered by his head office. From a coal mining area to a railway bridge construction site. From thereafter a few months to a chemical plant which was coming up somewhere. Now, so students, he had to keep moving from place to place every now and then. Okay. So as he got the order from the head office, he had to move. And from a coal mining, where the mining of the coals were, from there to the railway bridge construction sites. And from thereafter, a few months to a chemical plant which was coming up somewhere. They have not mentioned the name of the place where it was coming up. So you see how this Mahendra is going from place to place. But then come to the next page, student. He was a bachelor. His needs were simple and he was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odd conditions, whether it was an ill-equipped circuit house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of the stone quarry. But one asset he had was his cook, Ishwaran. The cook was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him uncomplainingly wherever he was posted. So, students, look here. He was a bachelor. Who is he we are talking about? Mahendra was a bachelor. His needs were very simple. Students, what is the meaning of bachelor? The meaning of bachelor is unmarried. His needs were simple. They were not very high or he wasn't very sophisticated person. He was able to adjust. He was able to adapt, could adjust anywhere, okay, himself to all kinds of odd conditions, the conditions which were not so very good, whatever type of conditions were, situations were, whether it was an ill-equipped circuit house or a makeshift. Students, what is the meaning of ill-equipped? Lacking facilities, or a makeshift, that is a portable canvas tent which he could move it to the different places. In the middle of a stone quarry. What is the meaning of quarry, students? Open mining. So students, he did not mind wherever he was sent. He would adjust himself. He would adapt the places where he was sent. But one asset, one property he had, a type of asset which he had was his cook, Ishwaran. So students, Mahendra had a cook whom he valued a lot and his name was Ishwaran. The cook was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him uncomplainingly wherever he was posted. So wherever Mahendra was posted, wherever Mahendra got transferred, the cook Ishwaran also would go with him without any complaints. Wherever Ishwaran stayed, wherever Mahendra stayed, Ishwaran also would adjust or adapt to the situation, to the places where he was posted. Then he cooked for Mahendra, washed his clothes and chatted away with his master at night. So he was a good company for Mahendra. What he did? He cooked food for Mahendra, he washed his clothes, he chatted, he had a chit chat, he talked with him, and then he chatted with his master at night, because whole day Mahendra would be at the side busy with his work. He could weave out endless stories and anecdotes on various subjects. So what he would do? Who is he? This is a Ishwaran. He would tell the different types of stories. What is the meaning of anecdotes over here? Anecdotes means either short stories or the stories which were told by Ishwaran to Mahendra. Ishwaran also had, come to the next paragraph students, Ishwaran also had an amazing capacity to produce vegetables and cooking ingredients seemingly out of nowhere in the middle of a desolate landscape with no shops visible for miles around. So, besides telling the stories, anecdotes and all, and cooking food for Mahendra, he also has some amazing capacity. And what was that capacity, students? To produce vegetables and cooking ingredients, whatever things needed for the cooking, seemingly out of nowhere in the middle of a desolate landscape. So wherever he was put, in the desolate, the sad, or the place which was deserted over there, and so whichever place it was, what he would do, with no shops visible for miles around. Okay, there were shops or no, but this Ishwaran would produce the vegetables. Okay, he would miraculously conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at the zinc sheet shelter at the new workplace. So students, what is the Ishwaran's capacity? That he would miraculously conjure. What is the meaning of conjure over here? Write the meaning of conjure. He would produce up the most delicious dishes, most tasty dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at the zinc sheet shelter at the new workplace. Whichever new place his master, that is Mahendra, went, and whatever type of place it would be, whether it is a deserted place or it was a city place where he could go. But students, Ishwaran's capacity was to produce the fresh, leafy or the fresh, delicious dishes made of vegetables. Then, Mahendra would be up early in the morning and leave for work after breakfast, carrying some prepared food with him. Meanwhile, Ishwaran would tidy up the shed, wash the clothes and have a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. So, students, what would Ishwaran do? Ishwaran would get up early and also would prepare, when Mahendra used to get up early in the morning to leave for the place, for the workplace, for his site, he would have breakfast which was prepared by Ishwaran, and also would carry some prepared food for him. You know students, when you come to the school, you also carry your tiffin. When your daddies, mummies, when they go to work to the office, they also carry some fresh tiffin that is a hot or tiffin or fresh vegetables, so that they can have it at lunchtime. And so here Mahendra is also carrying, which was prepared by Ishwaran. Thereafter, once Mahendra has left the place, what would Ishwaran do? Ishwaran would tidy up the shed. He would tidy up the things. He will keep the things neatly. He will wash the clothes of Mahendra as well as his, and then would have leisurely bath. He would comfortably have with pleasure have a nice bath, muttering. What is the meaning of muttering, students? To say in a low voice, or to chant, to speak some mantras or whatever, some prayers all the while, okay, as he was having bath. Then what is, students? What he would do? It would be lunchtime by then. After eating, he would read for a while before dozing off. So after eating, after having his lunch, he would read little while. It could be the magazines, it could be the newspaper, whatever it was. And then he would start dozing off. He would start falling asleep. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative descriptions and narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. Now, students, just pay attention. What is the meaning of thriller? Here, full of excitement. Thriller is to have excitement. And then, students, thereafter what is given? The Ishwaran in thrall. What is the meaning of thrall over here, students? The meaning of thrall over here is to control. And so, what used to happen? When you used to read what type of books, students? Mostly the Tamil books. Popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. He would go through hundreds of pages reading the Tamil. It was in the language of Tamil. Then, its imaginative descriptions. What is the meaning of description, students? Explanation. And imaginative, you know that he would imagine. And the narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. It would control him, his imagination and all. Then, his own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, what is the meaning of incidents, students? The events. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into the account. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say, with eyebrows suitably arched. What is the meaning of arc? With eyebrows suitably arched, meaning with curved eyebrows and hands held out in a dramatic gesture. What is the meaning of gesture? Sign. Okay? The road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly, I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast lying sprawled across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back, but as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree and its dry branches spread out. Mahendra would stretch himself back in his canvas chair and listen to Ishwaran's tales uncritically. So see, students, what capacity he had of storytelling. So what he used to imagine, and his imagination was far and wide. He would say it with dramatic gestures, with eyebrows up in a arc, that is in a curve, like curve form, okay? And the hands with the gesture, students. Sometimes when you also tell stories, your hands go up and down. And so here, this Ishwaran also would do that. And to whom he used to narrate the stories? To his master. What was the name of the master? Mahendra. And so, what is the example given over here? Suppose he had come across an uprooted tree. The tree which was fallen on the highway, he would say with eyebrows suitably arched and hands held out with dramatic gestures. And what was that? Narration about the fallen tree would be, the road was deserted and I was all alone. The moment you start telling something, there is some type of fear. There's a suspense in the story. And then what you would say? Suddenly I spotted something that looked like an enormous, that is a large bushy beast. Okay? Then lying sprawl across the road. What is the meaning of sprawl across the road? Spread arms across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back. I was almost ready. I was feeling like going back. Inclined meaning willing. I was willing to go back. But then, as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree. So see the suspension over here. What was that enormous beast? It wasn't anything, a big giant, but it was a fallen tree. Okay? With its dry branches spread out. So the branches were spreaded out, and so the tree was fallen. And so that was his imagination. Mahendra would stretch himself back in his canvas chair and listen Ishwaran tales uncritically, without criticizing Ishwaran anymore. Students, I am going to stop over here. But before that, I am going to show you the blackboard work. Instead of writing meanings, I have written synonyms. What is the meaning of synonyms? The similar words. In the exam, sometimes they give you a particular passage, and then they would ask you, like, find out the similar word for willing from the passage given. So over here, this passage which I read, what would be the synonyms for the willing? In the passage, you will have over here incline. Okay? So I'm just going to show you the board work. Have a look at this. You have to write all these meanings in your fair book. Have a look at the board, students. Ishwaran, the storyteller, written by R.K. Lakshman. See the words given over there. Write it in your notebook. Have a good day. Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brethren. Tomorrow is Sunday. And also I wish you happy Raksha Bandhan. Have a good day, good festive time. See you soon.